Me.
Oh, I see your mindset. I'm a little taken back. Yeah. I'm a little taken back. I'll get over it. Yeah. There's so like.
Oh, yeah.
Like in New York City, the guy could really One minute. 1 minute.
No, I want the other.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir. You don't know what it's doing next week. The fall. Well, it could be, but I think it's everybody else.
First of all, it is good to see everyone again, all my colleagues, and I'm very happy to see many members of our council that is present tonight. We are want to welcome you all. I'll start off by first of all recognizing the Honorable Judge Castro, who will be with us tonight. She will be addressing council. In that same venue, before we start tonight, I want to thank all my neighbors that turned out tonight for the City Council meeting. I want to recognize a couple of those individuals that are in the audience tonight. Tonight we have with us the former Council President, Michael Nenovich. We also have the former Council President, Mr. Tom Vaughn. We also have with us the former Council Pro Tem, Chuck Donahue. And we also have the former councilman that represented the Great Ward of Ward 4, Mr. Eugene Glenn and his wife. I want to thank you all for being present tonight. Thank you for your attendance. With that note in mind, again, I want to thank all of our residents and our neighbors for being at this meeting tonight. And at this time, I'd like to welcome you to the Garfield Heights City Council meeting for February the 10th, 2025. We'll have our invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilwoman Pro Tem Collier.
Heavenly Father, during this month where we honor the history of African Americans, may we remember the fierce souls who paved the way as we carry their legacies forward. We pray for a community coming together through diversity, equity, and inclusion to heal the past hurts of exclusion and prejudice, breaking down the barriers to build a better Garfield Heights. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. At this time, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier.
Here.
Ms. Max. Here. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Ms. Thompson. Here. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Newell. Here.
Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum? All right. At this time, I'll ask for a motion for the disposal of our reading and disposal of our last minutes, please.
Mr. President, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kelly.
I make a motion to disposal of our minutes, last council meeting, January 13th, 2025. I'm sorry.
That's stand corrected, sir.
No, that's right.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Am I jacked up or what?
No, sir, you can, go ahead.
I don't have my glasses. Yes, January 13th,
13.
2025.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilman Kelly for the disposal of our last minutes. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
There's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Smith.
No, I stand corrected.
I thought it was 27.
27. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at Mr. President.
Councilman Kelly.
Please allow me to correct my motion. I make a motion disposal of the last minutes for a regular council meeting, January 27th, 2025.
The motion has been placed on the floor by Councilman Kelly for the disposal of the minutes for for January 27th. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Smith. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. All right. At this time, is there any written communications to council? Are there any written communications to council? And do you want to wait till after the?
Yeah, let me do it regular.
Okay, we'll wait till after we have heard from Judge McCaskill.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any committee reports at this time? Are there any committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Carter.
the legislative committee met today at 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
We pulled, ordinance 85, 2024
Mhm.
out of committee with amendments. It shall be on the next, on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Thank you, ma'am, for your report.
Thank you, sir.
There's no other reports. At this time, the council of Garfield Heights would like to recognize Judge McCaskill, the Honorable Judge McCaskill of our municipal courts here in Garfield Heights. Judge McCaskill, is your options to sit at the corner or take the podium, however you feel comfortable in addressing the council.
Does this enhance the sound throughout the room?
Yes.
Okay, I can stay here, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to come tonight, and I don't want to take up a lot of time because I know you have a big agenda, and this gentleman only has a few minutes. But I just want to put this on the record. I feel it's my obligation about the courthouse, the structure itself. And just to give a little history to newer council people, when Mayor Clover was here, he took over in 2009. They were in fiscal emergency through 2013. He resigned in 2021. During that entire period, we talked about a new courthouse, a new justice center, police, jail, and courthouse. The city was in fiscal emergency, so the expectation for most of that time was that was just not possible. And we limped along as best as we could. Then when he resigned. Of course, Mayor Burke took over. And about the same time, Judge DeGeronimo was appointed to the bench by Governor DeWine. Judge Weiler retired early. And so fortunately, Mayor Burke and Judge DeGeronimo came in at the same time. Judge DeGeronimo had been the prosecutor in my room for 25 years for Brecksville, so he was fully aware of the condition of the building until we took him to the basement. Then he was totally shocked. And Mayor Burke and everybody who's seen the building is totally shocked. I think everybody's seen some of the news reports. When Judge DeGeronimo and Mayor Burke came in, I said, this is the time, gentlemen, we need to do something. This has been going on, it's getting worse. What precipitated my request to meet with you today is that not last week, but the week before, I was not there when Judge DeGeronimo and I were at a judicial conference in Columbus when I get a call from the clerk of courts that the fire alarms had gone off. But of course, there's only one fire alarm in the second. I don't know what's in the police department, but in the courthouse, there's only a fire alarm in the clerk's office. 2/3 of the building does not have a fire alarm. So the deputy clerks were getting ready to vacate when an officer from the fire department, the fire truck arrived, the backup vehicles arrived. They came up the stairs and informed them that they did not have to vacate, that the alarm was set off in the police department, but they were going to inspect our part of the building to make sure there was no fire, right, that would have precipitated this. As they walked through the building, they noticed that nobody in the building, court users or court employees, were moving to vacate because there was no alarm and they didn't know that a fire alarm had been set off. I have been bringing this up for 25 years that there is no fire alarm in 2/3 of the building. And how can we keep bringing people in? And they would test them periodically, determine, yes, in fact, there's no fire alarm you could hear outside the clerk's office, certainly not in the courtrooms, and then nothing happens. But now we have a real instance of when everybody in that building should have been vacated, and they were not because they did not know that there was a fire alarm in progress. I believe that's an essential safety hazard. If you don't, let's talk about it. But I'm putting everybody in this room on notice. This is not something I, as the presiding administrative judge, have any control over. This is solely a city matter, whether they're going to fix this, correct it, can correct it. And let me say this at this stage before I go further. At no point has anybody from the city administration or council ever said to me, no, we're not going to do anything. They have made the efforts that they can make to correct this situation, but there is no money. And to the audience, be aware that as the presiding judge, I can order the city to build a new building. I have that authority. They have to provide appropriate space. But I can't order the impossible, okay? I can't generate millions of dollars. The city cannot afford to pay millions of dollars. And so we're stuck in this situation where everyone's willing, but they're not able, okay? And so when I speak tonight, I don't want to cast aspersions on council or the city administration. The reality is we are stuck, okay? So during the time that Mayor Coloma was here, he tried to come up with a design for the old city view, but we were blessed. They were able to rent that, sell it and make money. People are paying taxes, so that's definitely a benefit. When Mayor Burke came in, Judge DeGeronimo developed, I thought, a great plan. It was to enter in, there's some developers in town with property, enter into a long-term lease with them. The city, they would make all the renovations. The city would have to make a monthly payment, but the city doesn't have the money to make a monthly payment. So a lease was out of the question. Then there was the negotiations with the county to be part of the new jail facility there. That did not come to fruition because the city doesn't have the money. Recognizing that, and again, this is my opinion. I do not speak for Judge DeGeronimo. Let me say this. When I realized this wasn't going to happen, when the city sufficiently proved to me they did not have the money to accomplish the things that need to be accomplished without detracting from, street repair, employee benefits, all the other things the city has to do. And there's numerous ones, some that we probably don't even think of on a daily basis, city employees are doing for the residents. Without detracting from that, how could we accomplish this? Also, keeping in mind, the police work in deplorable conditions. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. It shows the dedication of the Garfield Heights Police. Last year, maybe the end of the year before, police officers actually put on work clothes, got out of their uniforms and were painting and cleaning and fixing themselves, their own quarters. What people do that?
They also install carpet.
And they installed carpeting and paneling and all sorts of things. I mean, that truly is a testament to the dedication of the police to this community. But even that said, there's just so much I don't want to use the term put lipstick on a pig, but let's use that term. The building is failing. You've seen that we've got black mold, no fire alarm system. And the black mold is recurring, not because the city hasn't tried to abate it. Okay, so I don't want to say that no one's tried, but it's just an insurmountable problem without tearing everything out and starting over. So we have a lot of things. There's no internal ventilation. The building is old, so there's literally no fresh air coming through the building. Disease control in a jail and a courthouse is very important. Every banner person comes to the Garfield Heights Municipal Court. If it isn't a disease, it's bed bugs that we combat daily. Okay? So all of these things are needed to make this a healthy working building, not only for the employees, but for the people that use the court. When I saw that clearly the city doesn't have the money to accomplish what they need to do and continue serving the residents, I said we have to find another plan. So I really said, and this is totally my fault, so I don't want to blame this on anybody else if it doesn't work. We are in a unique situation here. From the beginning of time, the Garfield Heights Municipal Court has served 7 other communities, plus the Metroplex. Garfield Heights is the host city because they've always had 60 to 65% of the cases that come before us. In 2019, the state of Ohio amended a law that says traffic camera tickets now have to go to municipal court. They can't be handled in mayor's court. We're the only state in the country that said that has formalized that procedure. Overnight, we got 70,000 traffic camera tickets. Our average caseload is 11 to 15,000. So at that point, Newburgh Heights has them, Walton Hills has them, but they don't have as many. They only have a couple cameras up. The host city, Garfield Heights, is no longer the biggest user of the court. Okay, Newburgh Heights has 80% of the cases coming before our court. Now, usually the host city is the city that has the most cases. So I said, well, let's see if I can talk to the mayor and council in Newburgh. Would they be willing to discuss this? Of course, they have a vested interest because if there's a deficit run by the court, they have to pay it. They're going to pay 80% of it. Okay? And what can they do to implement systems to help us run more efficiently? One of them being a new building. So we had a meeting. The council and the mayor have said over and over, we will do what's best for the constituents of the court in the city of Garfield Heights. And if that means moving to Newburgh, they would consider that. And I appreciate that. And the offer that you made to consider that. That is the reason I brought up that issue. Newburgh Heights City Council, Village Council is ready to approve it. The mayor is ready to approve it. I then had to call the Supreme Court because really major changes in any court system are supervised or overseen by the Supreme Court. After they investigated, they said, well, Judge, you're not asking to increase or decrease judges. You're moving within your court district. So we have no opinion. We're neutral. We are not going to get involved. It's a local matter to be decided between Garfield and Newburgh, and of course, the other communities served by the court. Up until January 22nd, I thought that's where we were going. I had even contacted the law director and asked to have legislation up for you all tonight to vote on a resolution to say, if Newburgh can get the funding, we would support this move. That you haven't seen that tonight because 48 hours later, I was notified that maybe we need to go in a different direction. Judge DiGeronimo is trying to approach the state to get funding. But again, I still ask, why would a court that has 8% of a city that has 8% of the cases want to pay for 100% of a court building? And not only building a new building, but maintaining a new building. There's still snow to plow and cleaning, repairing. And so I leave that out there because eventually we may come back to you and say, maybe this is the best way to go, to move to Newburgh. And that if over the next couple of weeks, if you have questions, I'd be more than happy to illuminate more or come back maybe for a work session or committee session to discuss that. The other reason is that I have never seen it. I have never seen the state of Ohio give people 100% of this construction of a building. And I would just imagine that they would come back and ask Garfield Heights to contribute in some way. And I know you don't have the money. So, and that's the other thing I want to emphasize. At no point, because I've heard rumors about contract negotiations with police, fire, all the other unions, that it's because of the courthouse situation that they are either going to lose benefits or not gain additional benefits. I've heard from the community, you're going to raise our taxes and I can't pay more taxes. I am not now, and I never will, order the city to do anything regarding that courthouse, regarding a new courthouse at least, while you're in the financial situation you're in. So I want you to rest assured. And I said that to the mayor too, because he's the one that would go to jail if I had a hold of it. Probably him and Mr. Johnson there. So, I want the residents to know I am not seeking a tax increase. I am not trying to deprive employees of benefits to which they're surely entitled. And that what I'm looking for is a way around this by moving the court to Newburgh Heights. That's my goal. I'll state it. Some other decision might come down, but that is what I am proposing and have been proposing from the beginning, and I want to clarify that. Now, I've been informed that if we're going to work with a plan to rehabilitate the building, maybe add an addition and get funding from the state, that would be 3 to 4 years out before we actually had a functioning building. I know Mr. Jerome, welcome back, Mr. Jerome, at one point said to Judge DiGeronimo, it won't happen during my term in office, which is 5 years. I understand, okay? I understand there are no alternatives. Again, that's why I think we should move to Newburgh. But it's up to me where my responsibility comes. It's your responsibility to provide a suitable courthouse. It's my responsibility to keep the court going and doing our duty while this is being debated and under these conditions. And what I wanted to tell council is, because this is going to involve you a little, every case that we hear here has a time deadline. A lot of people don't know that. You've heard of speedy trial, because everybody sees that on TV. Everybody has the right to a speedy trial. Slow justice is delayed justice, is no justice, is you can't keep somebody in jail for months waiting for a trial. We have to meet those deadlines, and to accomplish that, many times it depends on the status of the courthouse. If I have to shut down 1 day a week and keep resetting cases, that's a problem. During the pandemic, we were all blessed. In one respect, the Supreme Court gave every court in Ohio $25,000 to set up remote hearings, Zoom. You've heard of Zoom. We are continuing that. Right now, any essential case that doesn't require submission of evidence, pre-trials, conferences, scheduling things, we do remote. I do remotely. Judge DiGeronimo does everything in person. I want to take as much, starting next week, we're going to take as much as we can remote, so we can reduce the number of people coming into the building. Jury trials are one of the laws that provide for emergencies for municipal courts is that we can sit in a courthouse in any court district contiguous to our court. That would be Cleveland, Bedford, Parma, and Stowe to the south of us. Stowe to the south of us is a long drive for our residents and jurors. Cleveland is rough. You got to pay for parking or take the bus. They are packed. You know, they had a sewer break last week or the week before. I've talked to the powers that be in Bedford, and they said, you know, we would love to help you, but our courtrooms are in use every day, so we don't have space to give. Okay. Parma is something of a distance, but they have the same situation. Their courtrooms are being used all the time. So we've talked about using your council chambers for jury trials. What that would entail is we would have to install a magnetometer in the building. It's unfortunate that some people who come to the court do present a threat to others. We have taken, if you want to see the weapons that we have taken off of people coming through the courthouse, there's a huge box we collect daily almost, because they don't understand you can't bring knives, you know, all sorts of things. Sometimes now we get ammunition, but not the gun, which leads me to believe the gun is outside somewhere in the car. So there's that. We would need a court reporter because the digital system we have can't be moved from our building. It would require rewiring this whole place. Those are expenses we can't afford, and I would accept the city to pay. Now, what I want to do is just do that for jury trials. I don't want to do it for every trial. So some trials like traffic you can do on remotely, but domestics, probably not. Anything with an extensive amount of evidence, you have to do in person. I mean, we've tried it. So those we might have to do here. Want to make sure that I've gone through what, as we move away, depending on whether things like we can fix the fire alarm system. We don't have handicap accessible bathrooms. So if you are in washrooms, if you are in a wheelchair, you can't come to our court. We can't, and this has been violating the law since what, 1990 something, when the Americans with Disability Act went in. If you have a respiratory problem, the black mold and ventilation is a problem. I've developed asthma over the year. I have over the years. The last time I went into the basement to inspect some problems that we were having, I ended up in the hospital the next day, and the emergency room at Marymount. I know them all by now from these experiences. So anybody with a respiratory problem has to be warned, and we have to make alternative arrangements. Now, the other major in-person thing we do is probation. We've tried doing probation remotely. We have the compliance rate drops by at least 50% or more. The people who are on probation need to see the human that they're dealing with, and that human is there to help them and get them through, and that doesn't always come across on Zoom. So we might ask you for space for probation officers to meet with people. Weddings, I would like to get all the wedding people out of that building. I can come over here and do weddings if you have room during the day. So we're looking at every function we perform and see what can we ethically and successfully do remotely, what can we move here. I do want to caution you, the reason we have magnetometers and security is there are incidences. It's the same in every court, not just Garfield. And the goal is to minimize that disruption for the rest of your activities that are going on here. The mayor has talked about a separate entrance, which would be good. One of the detractions of working out of the basement is there are no windows. How can I say this? That has a mental health impact on people. Miss Dr. Mack knows that. And so I could not have employees just hope, hit and caboodle, move over here and work out of windowless spaces. Probationers will not do well in these enclosed spaces if there are mental health issues. And so those are some of the things we're kicking around. Starting Monday morning, we will be implementing as many of these as possible. We'll work with Mr. Jerome to see how we can figure this out. But I don't know how long we can continue operating without a fully functioning building. Right now, I guess it's going to be 5 years until I hear otherwise, or until somebody decides they want to go to Newburgh Heights. I've often said that if you sold the property we're on now at 5555 Churdy, use that money to make an extension here for the police department, I think you'd be ahead, get rid of the court. But that's not my decision to make. That's going to be up to city council and the mayor to decide the future of the court. And I'm not, timing is everything. We don't know how long free space will be available in Newburgh, or when their funding would be available to start soon. Anyway, I just want you to know that I have done everything I can do in the building that we have to continue daily, and that now we have to start taking action. And that's what I want to put everybody on notice. I have a real concern about anybody being in a building where there's no fire alarm. And if I were to ask anything, if the city had the money or could get a grant, at least put some fire alarms in, okay? Get a portable ADA compliant washroom in the parking lot, if nothing else. I don't believe there is a substantial black mold issue on the second floor, but we don't perform any function in the basement now where there's obviously black mold that comes through the ceiling. They change the tiles, it comes back. But if anything, it's the fire alarm system that alarms me. And with that, I will conclude and just say I am open. If you want to keep this in committee, I will bring you up to date on what's going on. If you just want to call and ask, give me a call, and go from there. Thank you so much for your time.
Again, I want to thank the Honorable Judge DeCastro for her report on the court. At this time, I am going to allow any of my council members that said they had a question to please ask your question at this time. Councilwoman, Chair recognizes Councilwoman Mack.
I want to say something else before I say the question. So I want to say that all my council people will agree that the conditions of the Garfield Heights Municipal Courthouse are unacceptable. And I'm pretty sure that they pose serious risk to public safety and the judicial integrity. So the lack of fire alarms, mold infestations, and ongoing structural failures make it clear that the immediate action is needed. And I do agree, listen to all the different measures that you have said that you all have taken, all the different routes that you're trying to exhaust, and, losing case files and things of that nature, and continuing to operate under those conditions is, it actually irresponsible. And I feel like we must try to figure out if we can exhaust some sort of state assistance, some type of potential relocation to ensure safety for everybody, the workers, probation officers, everybody that's involved. And when you think about the collaboration between the city and officials and state representatives and other impact communities, that's essential to finding those valuable solutions. I think that we all have to come together to find a solution. And it needs to be done quicker than, than.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, sooner than later. So, I support the efforts to protect residents and court employees, judicial process, all of those things. And I urge, just like I'm pretty sure most of my colleagues will agree, that some sort of swift action is needed to be addressed to combat this crisis before it escalates any further. So one of my biggest questions is, if you do move, what will happen to the employees in the court right now?
If we were to move, we would take all those employees with us. Our caseload, let me say this, what would happen, the mayor here would have the opportunity to create a mayor's court. You could run it here out of City Hall. Newburgh would lose their mayor's court, and the council understands that. There's a matter of maybe 1,500 to a 2,000 case difference, but it's all traffic. Just to give you some information that none of this council probably knows about, when Mayor Kalova was here, we had a substantial drop in traffic tickets. We used to be, most of you probably remember 480 and 77, the Garfield the Garfield Heights police were all over. Over the years, as the number of police officers have decreased and crime, although it may not have increased, has gotten more serious, requires all the detection, the modern things that we're blessed in Garfield have, fewer police officers are assigned to a traffic detail. So there are fewer traffic tickets. So Mayor Kalova called me and said, Judge, do you think we could eliminate a judgeship? Because Judge Weiler's term was about to end, and that would have been the opportune time to do it. So we requested a review by the Supreme Court. Remember I said earlier, they only want to get involved if you're increasing or decreasing the number of judges. I have this letter if anybody would be interested. They wrote back to say, no, we would not approve a decrease in judges because it's just traffic cases. It's not the serious criminal and civil matters. Remember, we have evictions, small claims, civil cases up to 15,000. And those cases have not decreased. So I anticipate we would not lose employees. We would be more efficient, and so they would all come with us. Long answer to a short question.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
So, Your Honor, first of all, thank you for coming in. And you've clarified a lot personally with me, and I appreciate it. What I saw on Channel 19 was deplorable, and my immediate question was, why now? And why are you coming to us? But it seems as though we're on the same page. I think I speak the sentiments of City Council here. What is it you want to do? And because you are the one that is primarily affected. That's your courthouse. And it sounds as though you want the Newburgh location. And if that's the case, I think we ought to get on board with you and let's do that.
Yeah, and I'll be direct. In my opinion, after evaluating everything, I think the move to Newburgh is the best. But it's not just my opinion, right? We've got the administration, residents, Judge DiGeronimo. We want consensus. I don't want conflict over this. And I think that they're trying to see if they can get state money to stay here. To me, I'll be honest, it just doesn't make sense. Again, why would a city with 8% of the cases want 100% of the responsibility of the building? Remember, and again, a lot of people are new, I haven't spoken to about, the other cities do not contribute to the building, okay? They pay nothing towards the new building, the maintenance of a building, repairs, snow removal. That is all on the host municipality.
Can I ask why? I'm sorry.
That's the law.
That is the law.
That it's written. So the way it's structured, and if anyone would like, I can provide you with the code, Ohio Revised Code section, in apportionment. It specifically says the host city is responsible for the building because they own the building. And this was written 100 years ago. Muni judges all over the state for the 30 years I've been a judge have been trying to get a change, and it's such a big issue, nobody wants to address it. What they have to do, The other cities, municipalities are only responsible to contribute to the court any deficit the city has. So say the court, we charge court costs. During the pandemic, we didn't have enough court costs coming in to pay for court operations. Prior to the pandemic, every year we were pretty much in the black. We might be short 20,000 here and there. Whatever is short is rebuilt to the other municipalities in the proportion of their caseload. But they never have to pay more than the fines that they collect. Whoever thought of that like 100 years ago? It doesn't work today, right? But we recommended change it, it hasn't changed. So it's just because of the statute.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Kelly.
Thank you for being here, and I think I repeat the comments of my colleagues that, you know, we are in a pickle here. However, I will say I'm always the voice of opposition, because the residents that have spoken with me, and I'm not even talking about just within my ward, I'm talking about throughout the city. If I'm you know, seeing somebody, the consensus of a lot of what I'm hearing is that, or at least from some of them, is that number one, we know we got court costs. You brought up court costs, but there are some situations where, or a lot of situations where, and you would have to validate this, that our court costs are probably less than a lot of the neighboring communities that share our municipal court space. I don't know that to be valid or not.
I actually believe that our court costs are one of the highest in the county compared to other municipal courts. So I'm not sure if that's what they mean. Or if they're comparing it to the other cities' mayor's courts. Mayor's courts are very different because they don't do civil, like evictions, small claims. And those are some of the, we're pretty close to the highest, we're not the highest in the county, but we're close.
And then also I would add that, and I've heard over and over again that our cases are minimal now, especially in traffic court. But then that also is in response to the fact that we got rid of traffic cameras here in the city too. So if we don't have, I'm just repeating their voice. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is factual. I'm just simply, I'm their voice. That's it.
Well, let's talk about traffic camera tickets in Garfield. They used to be here, but that was under the old law, where that was handled administratively by the city.
Mhm.
In 2019, the state passed a law saying they had to be filed in municipal court. So up into, and then there were appeals. So up until, say, 2021, we never had traffic camera tickets in our, from Garfield or any place else, if that helps.
Okay. So I think the last thing I'm gonna say is whenever I think we have a tendency of shooting ourselves in the foot. Whenever we give up something, we end up paying for it later, at some point in time. I'm not saying I got to answer tonight either. This is going to be an ongoing conversation, but we'll have to see, where we are down the line.
And that's why consensus is so important, Councilman. That's why, again, I'm not here to dictate how this is going to go. If you were rolling in money and you refused to provide a building, then you would have an order, okay? But you're not rolling in money, and that's why it's going to take consensus, because something else has to give if Garfield is going to solve this problem. And I don't decide that. That's unfortunately you all's job. You're going to have to make that hard decision on what's going to give.
Again, I want to thank the Honorable Judge McCastro for taking our questions and for your presence here tonight. I have Councilwoman Collier.
I agree with all of my colleagues. I just want to remind us also that we are a two-judge court. And while you are sitting here at the table currently expressing your opinion and your thoughts, we have not heard from Judge DiGiorno. And so I couldn't say without having the conversation with the two of you. And I do appreciate because you answer my questions whenever I ask. And thank you. I think I would be negligent to voice an opinion either way at this time. But I have a question for you, that if the city were able to find space or lease space for the court, would you be open to
Absolutely.
that?
And Judge DiGiorno is a very attentive gentleman, and I say young because he's younger than me. That was one of the second things he started looking for when he came in. He's from Brecksville. He was assistant law director. He worked on a lot of building projects, so he has a lot more recent knowledge than I have. And we even looked at buildings in Independence because, again, we could sit in an adjacent community on a temporary basis. We looked at property in Garfield, but again, the question is, what can the city afford to do? Right? And that's a determination you all have to make. We couldn't.
One more, sir, if you don't mind. Maybe we can, if it's okay with council, maybe we can discuss, once again, having a work session where we're able to sit down with the two of you and hash out and have a more in-depth conversation about this outside of I agree. So
I think that would be wonderful.
thank you.
And also then, if anyone, this has given anybody questions, we can talk about that and get the facts out.
Right.
So that we know we're all talking about the same thing.
Again, thank you, Judge
Thank
McCastro.
you.
Councilwoman Collier, there are the rest of your colleagues, they do have further questions and they would like to have a work session, or either we would call it in finance or we would call it in Ways Means Committee. So we will definitely do that in order to help facilitate this and move this quickly as we possibly can. I definitely got a problem with the ADA bathrooms, that they're not compliant, and there's a host of other issues that I think that we need to discuss inside of the committee. Okay, so we will do just that, Judge McCastro. We will not linger this. If that committee will take place within the next week to 2 weeks at the most.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your sincerity and your recognition of the issues. Because I think any problem can be solved if we all work together, as long as it doesn't cost too much money.
Thank you again. At this time, there is a letter that was sent to council from Mayor Matt Burke, and at this time, I will turn it over to the Chief of Staff, Mr. Jeff Jerome.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize, I've been under the weather for a few days, so bear with me. Mayor Burke wanted to, during his given time, he was going to give a brief statement regarding things going on within the community. So he asked me to read this evening, so I will do so. I regret that I'm unable to be with you this evening as I've been asked to co-sponsor the Garfield Heights Athletic Alumni Game. Our outstanding Garfield Heights Bulldog basketball team is once again headed to the state tournament. They've secured their LEL division title and will compete against other teams across Ohio for the top spot in the state. I will be representing the city administration and council at tonight's game. With regards to updates, the Garfield Heights Municipal Court update. In an effort to maintain transparency regarding the municipal court, I've begun publishing relevant information on the city website, and we'll be creating a dedicated page to keep for all matters concerning the court. Over the past few years, I've authorized expenditures, including the installation of HVAC units, plumbing repairs, paving the parking lot, and other repairs. These improvements have resulted in a substantial expenditure of funds, approximately $500,000. I remain committed to working with both municipal court judges, resolving these longstanding issues, including considering the relocation of the court as suggested by Judge Nicastro. I believe we should allow Judge DiGiorno, myself, and other city officials the opportunity to attempt to secure necessary fundings. I will continue to provide periodic updates as we go through this progress. The update for the service department. Our service department continues to battle winter weather. This year has seen an increase in snowfall, with the latest storm bringing extensive ice, leading to hazardous road conditions. The city has already utilized over 20,000 tons of salt, with more inclement weather forecasted. Please exercise caution while traveling and always yield to snowplows. There's a snow ban reminder. Please remember that when there's in excess of 2 inches of snow, we have a snow ban. Parking on streets during the snow ban is prohibited. Violators will be ticketed and towed to ensure efficient snow removal. GHPD has already begun issuing multiple tickets and have towed vehicles this season. Update with respect to the recreation department. Our recreation center is finalizing programs for Zumba, line dancing, and Latin dancing. An official announcement regarding these programs will be made available to the public in the coming days. An update with regards to property taxes. Garfield Heights is currently approximately $9 million in delinquent property taxes that are owed to Cuyahoga County. With a $9 million deficit, approximately $1.8 million of that would be directed towards the city's budget. These funds are obviously crucial for maintaining our city services and programs. To assist our residents facing financial difficulties at this time, Cuyahoga County offers programs and payment plans to allow payments. Tax outreach meetings conducted in partnership with both Maple Heights and Garfield Heights will provide additional resources and guidance going forward. Please check our city website for these meetings and updates. Community engagement and upcoming events within the community. I invite all of the Garfield Heights residents to join me at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History on Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. Residents of Garfield Heights will receive free admission every Saturday until further notice. This is a fantastic opportunity for community engagement, and I have many exciting plans for the years ahead. Please stay updated with the city with regards to these announcements on our website. Update with respect to our holiday closing schedule. City of Garfield Heights will be closed on Monday, February 17th, 2025, in observance of President's Day. And lastly, the mayor would like to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day and a happy President's Day going forward. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. That was the report.
You're welcome. At this time, I want to recognize underneath Mr. Jeff Long, our law director, Mr. Milko Cizek, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
First of all, with respect to any ordinances tonight, if there's any questions, we already addressed it in caucus meetings, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. But if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I think they speak for themselves, so I won't spend time talking about that. I do want to just address a couple of Judge Nicastro's comments. Thank you, Judge Nicastro, for coming tonight, sharing your thoughts. And I'm all about simplicity and transparency as well. So I want to kind of summarize where we are within this process. Obviously, we've explored different options as to, we all acknowledge the fact that this courthouse is not an ideal shape. Everyone's nodding their heads. I think we all know that. All it takes is taking a tour of that building and you know. So we've gotten to the point where we have to do something about it. Obviously within our financial means without hurting necessarily the residents of the city. So the four options in essence we've explored. One is, can we afford, do we build a new courthouse? And what does that look like? The need for the courthouse is approximately 15,000 square feet. Architects tell us it's $700 a square foot. So that equates to $10.5 million. If you make your annual debt service, aka mortgage payment, it equates to approximately $800,000 a year. That simply put, the way things stand right now, we cannot afford, as Judge Nicastro said. The other and then the problem with that as well is if you build just a new courthouse, we'll still have to worry about the police station. So there's two components to it because they're both housed in the same facility. So that's the concern. The other part is, do we build something new by the county campus? We try to explore some public-private partnerships, things like that we can do. Again, it goes back to money. So there's first option, build at the new facility. I mean, the current facility. Do we build at the site adjacent to where the county campus is going to go? Do we just simply lease space in the city somewhere? There's Infinity One building that has a first floor that's available. It's 33,000 square feet. We could perhaps fit both the police and the courthouse there. The problem is you have to fit the building, spend a bunch of money doing that as well, and then you're not the landowner. I don't like the idea of the city not owning the building and us leasing from somebody else as well to put our police station in there. I don't like that particular option, but we've explored that option as well. And the fourth one, of course, being what Judge McCaster is talking about, do we move? So that's sort of the summary of the options that we're trying to explore to acknowledge that the problem exists. And frankly, before the council can vote on this, we want the council to have all the information available. So we're collecting all that data so we can make the best decision going forward, not just for the courthouse, but also frankly for all of you, the residents of this city of Garfield Heights. So that's sort of where we are at the moment. The move to Newburgh Heights does allow us, as Judge McCastro said, to have our own mayor's court, which we could handle certain things internally, frankly. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. Obviously, as Judge McCastro said, if we're sitting on a bunch of money, I don't think we'd be having this discussion to begin with, because this mayor is committed to trying to solve the problem. I do want to thank Judge McCastro, because when I joined a year ago, I myself took a tour of the building, she gave me one, and I asked for patience because I understand she's been dealing with this issue for a number of years. So we can't sit on it anymore. At some point, we're going to have to resolve the problem. The way I explain it is, you can't take the balloon that's got water in it, water keeps coming out, we keep putting patches on it. At some point, it's just going to burst. So we are committed to doing that. So I want to say, thank you, Judge McCastro, for being patient with us as well as we try to make the best decision going forward. We're trying to compile all the information so this council can make the decision. What is happening as well as obviously Judge McCastro has indicated that she prefers to move to Newburgh Heights. Judge DeGeronimo is planning to try to go down to the state of Ohio to ask for funding. We don't know what that would look like. As Judge McCastro said, the state of Ohio doesn't simply usually turn around and give you millions of dollars. We don't anticipate that. But let's take a stab at it to see if that's going to work. If it works, then great. If we get some money, do we then perhaps take the money and fix the police station and still move to the courthouse? If we had money, things get a lot easier, but we don't necessarily want to hurt the residents by increasing your guys' rates and things like that. So those are the four options that we're kind of exploring: building at the current courthouse, elsewhere, leasing, or simply moving the court. That's, in a nutshell, what we're trying to do, provide the council with all information so we can make the correct decision that benefits everybody. That's what I wanted to just add. Either way, as Judge McCastro was talking about the need for space to perhaps hold jury trials here, we're still exploring that, because even with the move to Newburgh Heights, it's not as simple as this. Newburgh Heights would have to build a courthouse there. We would have to not go to the Supreme Court, as Judge McCastro said, but we have to go to the General Assembly, essentially change the law, because the law specifies that Garfield Heights is the municipal court and specifies who we serve. That law would have to be amended to change from Garfield Heights to Newburgh Heights. So it's not an overnight thing, which means that we still have to worry about what do we do about jury trials and things like that. So I want to say thank you once again to Judge McCastro for working with us and understanding the problems that we're all dealing with. And we're trying to do our best to fix those problems. So that's what I wanted to add. Basically keep everyone here informed as to what's happening. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, if all minds are clear, this time I'd like to ask that the Director of the Library here, Mr. Tony Florico, please take the floor from me before I tear up your name.
I appreciate it. I'll be quick. I'd just like to say hey to council. I try to get here once a month, but I haven't been here this year yet. So Happy New Year, everybody. I just like to throw out oldies but goodies. We do free faxing at the library, so a lot of people have to do faxing, especially to the IRS this time of year, to social services. So push for people to come to the library. It's all free. We help out up there as much as we can. We also do passports, which are not free. But I think we're a lot easier to get in appointments than the post office. So we do passports every day of the week as long as we're free. We have Kids Cafe every weekday for kids birth through 18. So that goes on from 3 to 4. So if the kids need a lunch, we've always got that. We've got to-go backpacks from the food bank for any kids that want any more food. Maybe they're not going home to a meal. We've got not candy bars, granola bars we give out to the kids. So if they're hungry and need a snack, we've always got those on hand. Job and Family Services, literal caseworkers, not just benefits navigators, come in every Wednesday, 9 to 4:30. We get so slammed because we're essentially the only east side location that they hold up in. They also go to Cleveland Public, Lorraine, and other places on the west side. But if somebody wants to not sit on the phone for 6 hours, see somebody, they can come in, but right at 9 o'clock. Because if they come in later, they're probably getting a phone call back. And then we have a really awesome program 3 days a week now. So we do Tuesday mornings, Wednesday mornings, and Thursday nights. It's called Family Space. It's from birth till 5 through 5. So any families that want to come in, it's basically like parents who haven't been parents or their grandparents who have young kids that they're taking care of. Like you come in, you learn how to play with the kids, and we have advocates there who connect them with social services. They learn about library programs and kind of anything, any issues they're having. We try to connect them with the appropriate services. So, and one of those is really cool. If anyone doesn't know about it, it's called the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Yes.
So any kids birth through 5 can sign up. They get a free book a month. So
Yes.
it's super cool. And there's no income requirements that anyone in the state of Ohio. So that's all I got. Unless anybody's got any questions.
I do apologize, Ms. Farina,
You're okay.
for not getting your name correct. I take pride in that. Tony, thank you again for your report. At this time, if anybody do not want to watch us go through our ordinances, you are free to leave at this time. If you want to excuse yourselves, you're more than happy to do so. If not, we're going to move on with our council meeting. Anybody wants to leave?
That includes us.
That's a negative. That is definitely a negative. At this time, if there's any communications on tonight's agenda, if there's any communications on tonight's agenda, thank you. Yes, this is the sign-in sheet.
Right, is my name to that?
For citizens or for the agenda?
For the agenda.
Or are you talking about for tonight's agenda, Mr. Glenn?
Citizens gonna reply to anything regarding the justice system. We're gonna have a chance to reply tonight.
That sign-in sheet will be up in the back.
In the back.
Still in the back.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Bring it over.
They're bringing it over for you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, at this time, we will tackle our ordinances and we'll get started with that. Council Clerk.
Ordinance number 9, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Matthew Burke, co-sponsored by Council President Avery Johnson. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee to continue the city's agreement with Anago Cleaning Systems to provide regular cleaning services to the Garfield Heights City Center and Police Department in the year 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kelly.
I'd like to make a motion to consider ordinance 09-2025 by title.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilman Kelly to consider a motion by title. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilwoman Thompson. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kelly.
make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilman Kelly to suspend the 3 reading rules. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilwoman Thompson. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kelly.
would like to make a motion, waiver of Rule 24.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilman Kelly for the waiver of Rule 24. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilwoman Townsend. All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no. I'll call for a roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilman Kelly.
Mr. Kelly.
Before I rule on this particular motion, I just wanted to say I would see this group, the employees coming in, cleaning the office space and everything. And my heart is in it because I actually had a commercial cleaning business myself, so I know the blood, sweat, and tears that they actually have to go through. So, I applaud them for the work that they're doing, and we hope that they, really can keep it up, and then that anything that they need, the city will do what they can to help them. So with that, without further ado, yes, I vote yes.
Ms. Rhodes.
Yes.
Ms. Collier.
Yes.
Ms. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes,
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
it passes 7-0.
Ordinance number 10, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Matthew Burke, co-sponsored by Council President Avery Johnson. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with the Hunger Network of Greater Cleveland to allow the Garfield Heights Senior Center to receive and distribute pantry foods as part of the food bank and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Councilman Smith.
I move to consider by title ordinance number 10-2025.
There's been a motion placed on the floor to consider by title by Councilman Smith. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Kelly. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Councilman Smith.
I move to suspend the 3 reading rules.
There's been a motion placed on the floor for suspension of 3 reading rules by Councilman Smith. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Kelly. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President, I move for a waiver of Rule 24.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilman Smith for a waiver of Rule 24. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Kelly. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. I'll call for a roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilman Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Ms. Rhodes. Yes. Ms. Collier.
Yes.
Ms. Mack.
Yes.
That passes 7-3.
Ordinance number 11, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Matthew Burke, co-sponsored by Council President Avery Johnson. An ordinance authorizing and directing the city engineer to prepare the necessary plans and specifications per the OHM advisor's proposal and to go out for competitive bids for the Thornhurst Avenue reconstruction project and authorizing payment of costs through funding by the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, MCIP, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Council Pro Tem.
I would like to make a motion to consider by title ordinance number 11, 2025.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Collier to consider by title. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion's been carried by second by Councilwoman Mack. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Collier.
I'd like to make a motion for the suspension of the 3 reading rule.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Collier for suspension of the 3 reading rules. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilwoman Mack. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Collier.
I would like to make a motion for the waiver of Rule 24.
There's been a motion placed on the floor for the waiver of Rule 24. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilwoman Mack. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. I'll call for the roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilwoman Collier.
Before I vote on this, I would like to say this has been 4 years in the making. This project is, it takes 3 streets, MLK, South Parkway, and Thornhurst. I'm so glad that, I'm hoping that we'll finally get boots on the ground on this, because we actually have been waiting. This is the tail end of something that we've been waiting for 4 years. With that, I vote yes.
Ms. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 12, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Matthew Burke, co-sponsored by Council President Avery Johnson. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with Breeze Line for the lease of a dark fiber network and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to consider by title ordinance number 12, 2025.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Thompson to consider by title. Motion for consider by title. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilman Smith. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Thompson for the suspension of the 3 reading rule. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilman Smith. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to waiver Rule 24. Waiver Rule 24, sorry.
It's okay. There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Thompson for the waiver of Rule 24. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilman Smith. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. I'll call for the roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilwoman Thompson.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes. Passes 7-0.
Ordinance number 13, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Matthew Burke, co-sponsored by Council President Avery Johnson. An ordinance amending section 183.01, authority to levy tax purpose of tax, and 1812101, disbursements of funds collected of the codified ordinances of the city of Garfield Heights and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Rhodes.
I would like to make a motion to accept ordinance 13-2025 by title, please.
There's been a motion placed to consider by title on the floor by Councilwoman Rhodes. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilwoman Collier. All those in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Rhodes for motion for suspension of the 3 reading rules. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilwoman Collier. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to waive Rule 24.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Rhodes for a waiver of Rule 24. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and second by Councilwoman Collier. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. I'll call for the roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilwoman Rhodes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Ms. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, resolution number 5, 2025, sponsored by Councilwoman Dr. Tanisha Mack, co-sponsored by all of council and Mayor Matthew Burke. A resolution recognizing February as Black History Month in the city of Garfield Heights.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Mack.
I would like to make a motion to consider by title, resolution 05-2025.
There's been a motion placed on the floor to consider by title by Councilwoman Mack. Can I get a second? It's been so moved and second by Councilman Kelly. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Mack.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the three reading rules.
There's been a motion placed on the floor by Councilwoman Mack for a suspension of the three reading rules. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Kelly. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. I'll call for the roll call on the adoption, beginning with Councilwoman Mack.
Ms. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Conzi, yes. Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Narone,
Yes.
Ms. Coley.
Yes.
And passes 7-0. That takes care of all our ordinances and resolution at this time. Now we'll open up the floor for comments by citizens. And I'll have the clerk read the rules, please. Okay.
Comments shall be restricted to any problem a resident has which had previously been submitted to his or her councilperson or to the city hall department directly involved. If submission of a problem to a city hall department or councilperson is made, and there is a lack of service rendered in this regard, the problem may then be presented during comments by citizens at a future meeting. It is the intent of this rule that no request of a first nature is presented on the floor at this time. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. No citizen shall be heard more than once.
Ms. Hernandez.
Good evening, administration, Mr. President, council, and Judge Castro. I come tonight, there's a few things I've been explaining about the condition in Ward 3.
You two had an opportunity to discuss.
I'm waiting on this.
And I discussed it with the building department also.
So I'm going to ask you to refrain from that. I have not talked to you about any of these issues.
I sent you an email, you
You
asked me
sent
back
me an
with an
email.
email.
I answered you with an email, sir.
You did not give me satisfaction.
Then you call me again.
I've called the building department also.
Listen,
I discussed it with the city.
I'm not going to entertain him at this time.
I discussed it with the city mayor.
I refuse to entertain him at this time.
To be fair to the councilman, he needs to have an opportunity to talk with the building director. And at this time, we will not entertain that until he is given that opportunity out of fairness. He needs to be able to hear what it is that needs to be addressed by you, Mr. Danovich. And that's only being fair.
That's been a year.
Okay.
When
Fair
did you
enough.
address it? Is
Sir, at this time,
Yeah, thank you
I appreciate
for
it.
your uncooperation.
And you know how to reach me, sir.
Oh, I know how to reach you, but you mark my words, you return your calls? No.
Have you called me?
Yes.
So we'll hold off. We'll hold off. I apologize to my, thank you. I appreciate you being a constituent, and I look forward to talking to you. God bless you, my friend.
You have to change.
At this time, council will acknowledge Mr. Eugene Glenn.
Yes.
Hello, council people.
Hello.
I'm here to say that the city has many assets. This building we're in, fire departments, service centers, they're all assets of this city, major assets. One of those assets we have is the municipal court. It's a huge asset to this city. It brings recognition to this city. And not only that, a big political pull. We get a lot of attention from politicians that come to our city asking for their vote. So there's been a long history with the court, municipal court, and the city of Garfield, namely the mayors and the judge. There's been a lot of animosity. In order to fix the problem, you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So take a lot of cooperation from the judges, the mayors, council, yes, state representatives. If laws has to be changed, change them. It can be worked out if everybody works together. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you, Mr. Glenn, for your comments. At this time, we will move on to our miscellaneous business. We're going to start off, first of all, with our councilwoman in Ward 1, the council pro tem, Ms. Collier.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you, Judge. I really quickly, I want to say Happy Black History Month to everyone. I have a gift to the city of Garfield Heights from the Ward 1 community, one of many gifts that are forthcoming. I have a few pictures here that I'd like to present to the city of Garfield Heights to maybe display somewhere in our Black History Month. First is a picture of Montana F. Allman, who was the first African-American council person in the city of Garfield Heights. Second is Janet Allman, who was the first female African-American council person for the city of Garfield Heights. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a picture of Ms. Goldston in her uniform, but that will be coming. With that being said, I do have a picture of Helen Collier, along with Mayor Stackwitz, showing an African-American police, one of the first African-American police dispatchers in the city of Garfield Heights. You can't have history, Black history, in Garfield Heights without having Ward 1 history. With that, I want to say thank you to the residents of Ward 1 for sharing your rich history and for staying, and even through the adversity and prejudice and things that you all have went through, to continue to find faith and hope in this city. I think our relationship with the city is a little different than most. I can say that I remember walking down Turney Road and people pointing guns at me when I left school. So for me to still be here and be sitting on this council as vice president says something about the tenacity and the integrity of the Collier family and the people in Ward 1 who stood fast through adversity. I want to also say that I see where the city is planning Zumba and many other things for the residents of Garfield Heights. I do appreciate that. But once again, Ward 1 has stepped up and stepped out and has found programming for the young people in the city of Garfield Heights. Again, at Holy Spirit Church, with the hair braiding classes, sewing classes, drumline classes, bucket drumming, and dance classes that are free to residents of Garfield Heights. You only have to pay $15 for the cost of a t-shirt for a performance that happens every 7 weeks. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to everyone, and then I'm gonna piggyback off of Tanisha real quick for a program that she's having about John Lewis. I said we have Miss McNear who walked that bridge with John Lewis, and I want to say thank you. Like I said, rich in our history. To the rest of the residents of Garfield Heights, we are a diverse community. We cannot build and grow unless we learn to accept each other and use the resources that we all have and the talents that we have to further the city along. We're not trying to bring back Garfield Heights. We want to make it better. So we look forward to the new Garfield and improved Garfield Heights. With that, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Councilwoman Collier, I want to thank you for your remarks. We'll move right along to Ward 2 and Councilwoman Dr. Mack.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be brief, but I want to talk about Black History Month as well. And as we recognize February as Black History Month, we honor the struggle, resilience, strength, and contributions of African Americans who have shaped our nation and our communities. Black history is American history, and it is a story of triumph over adversity, It is the legacy of those who have fought against slavery, segregation, and injustice to pave the way for a better future. Leaders like Harriet Tubman, Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, they stood against all odds, providing the courage and determination that can change our culture and the course of history. But Black history is not just about the past. So many people look at Black History Month and think of the past and what happened and the bad things. But at the end of the day, it is about the present and our future. It is about the educators, the business owners, and the change makers in our own city. And it is about ensuring opportunity, justice, and equality for all. And as a city, we commit to uplifting diversity, advancing equality, and strengthen justice for all. So let us not, just celebrate Black History Month this month. Let us honor it every day, and in the way that we lead, and the way that we uplift, and the way that we unite. And on February 22nd, I will be collaborating with the Village of Marymount campus, and we will be having a viewing of John Lewis' Good Trouble on February the 22nd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I will be one of the guest speaker along with a couple of people from Trinity, the principal from Trinity, and a couple of other people. And I would like to say Happy Valentine's Day to everyone, and welcome back, Jeff. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Mack, for your kind remarks. We're going to move along to Ward 3, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the opportunity. Those of you who were here last week, I brought an individual who is a part of a group that we have discovered within the Ward 3 area. We've created a community and youth engagement team. In my travels in Ward 3, we've discovered that individuals need something to do. As a result of that, they have been able to come up with a program. In fact, it aligns right with Black History Month. So on February 23rd, that group that was spun off, if you would, in the Garfield Heights area over on Birchwood, is bringing in the Congresswoman Chantel Brown. She will be the guest speaker for an event that's going to be held at my church on February 23rd. And all of you are welcome to come out to hear the Congresswoman. These youth have actually put together a dinner, and they've got a presentation about some of the historic individuals of Black history. That will be February 23rd. Then in addition to that, in my travels, since the council president and I happen to share a unique constituent, Jason Lucas is going to be honoring our own council president, Avery Johnson, on the same day at 4:00. Actually, Jason Lucas Funeral Home, they're partnering with that same youth engagement group at my church. And then we're coming, and that's at 12. And then at 4:00, we're coming over to Jason Lucas's. We're actually going to have it right here in the Civic. And we will be honoring the one and only Avery Johnson, and I think he's well deserving. That's all happening on February 23rd. Appreciate the engagement. We appreciate the conversation. Thank you so kindly for that, because you cleared up a lot for me. And I don't know about my colleagues, but you definitely did that. Thank you all. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Councilman Smith, for your comments. We'll move right along to Great Ward 5. Councilwoman Townsend.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you to those who are watching. I just want to say thank you, Judge Nicastro, for coming out tonight, explaining. It was great hearing from you and making us, just aware. So I appreciate that. I just also want to congratulate our trash boys of Garfield Heights. They had made the news. They're out there cleaning up. They're doing it for other communities. They're there to take your trash out and different things you need. So I just want to give them a shout out. So good, I'm just very happy for them. I don't have much, but happy Valentine's Day and stay warm out there. I hear some snow's coming the next couple days or 2 days from now. So just be safe. Thank you and have a good night.
I want to thank Councilwoman Thompson for her remarks. We move straight over to Ward 6 with Councilman Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. A couple things. Want to thank Judge McCastro again for being here and for pointing out the serious situation we have with the courts. And so as soon as we can deal with that, we can. I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. As soon as I get this Powerball, I'll build you.
We have that on tape.
Okay, all right, we'll have a conversation. But you gotta name it after me though.
That's up to you. I would name the courthouse.
Okay, all right, okay. Anyway, moving on. We have our next NOD, Neighbors on Duty, coming up. There'll be another meeting to, again, to announce it, but we have our next meeting coming up Wednesday, March the 5th. And on that night, we will have, as always, our Chief of Police and Deputy Chief K and Deputy Chief Merchant, our fire department. And this meeting, we're expecting to see our House of Representative, Darnell Brewer will be there, and some other guests. I won't go through the whole list, but that's March the 5th. Also, I want to give a shout out to, if you saw some of my social media, I was talking about a food truck company, A Taste of Love Barbecue and Catering. They chose the beautiful Ward 6 to post up. Although they don't live in Ward 6, I think they live in your ward, Ward 7. Yeah, Ward 7, but the food is good. And I bring it up because, you know, when I first came to council, I had the dream. I kept talking when I was running. I dreamed of the day when we will actually have a food truck park in Garfield Heights. I mean, something different, something new, you know. So we working on. We're gonna have to do something. And I mean, I see the stuff on the west side. I seen it in Beechwood. I'm like, I mean, come on, Garfield's grown up. We can do this. Yeah. So I'm looking for the opportunity where we can actually, really show our city off and, just show how well, diverse and how grown up we are and that we're doing different things that we haven't done before. And I want to thank Jeff Jerome for coming back. Double J, JJ, glad to see you, brother. And I guess without further ado, that's really about it. I still got a couple of minutes. I could waste some more time, but I'm sure you want to get home. So thanks for coming. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see you next meeting.
5 minutes ago. I'm just joking. I want to thank Councilman Kelly for his remarks. Let me go all the way down here after we got done with Ward 6. Let me get to Ward 7 and Councilwoman Larone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say tonight, thank you to Judge Nicastro for coming out. I was able to make her meeting the other night at the courthouse and actually get to see and talk to both her and Judge DiGeronimo. It was a very informative meeting. Going to these meetings is important. It's important as residents to stay informed. I appreciate any feedback that I get from residents. So if you have any opinions on the courthouse or how you want things to go, please communicate with me, let me know. It's great to see so many people here tonight, and I hope that this continues. We need more residents to be involved to make this city a better place to live. As always, my block watch meeting will be on the 27th. Our guest this month will be Janice Tubbs, 7 o'clock at St. Benedict's. It is open to anyone. You do not have to be a Ward 7 resident. Also on March 12th at 5:30 at the Civic Center, we will be having our next parade meeting. We can use a lot of hands. We're going to be stuffing envelopes to get out to area businesses and get stuff moving for the parade. So anyone wants to join us, you are more than welcome to do that. Welcome back, Jeff. It's so nice to have someone sitting next to me. So I appreciate that. And I also wanted to say a very happy Black History Month to everyone out there. you know, I just am so excited to celebrate it. I can't wait for the Lucas, the celebration that they do, getting out there and just celebrating what we have here. What a great community to live in, such diversity. It's just an amazing place to be. So happy Black History Month to everyone. And with that, you have my report.
Councilwoman Rose, I thank you for your comments. I would like to, again, at this time, move over to Ward 4. Let me say, first off, before I begin, thank you again to the Honorable Judge McCastro for being here with us tonight, giving us a wonderful presentation as to what challenges we face with our court. We're definitely going to move it over into committee and have those discussions. And however we have to work with your office to make sure that the outcome is good for the court as well as for the residents here in Garfield Heights, we're going to do our very best to make that happen.
Thank you.
Being in meetings with you, I'm quite aware of our challenges. Given the fact that I was there with the mayor, with our law director the other day, and I saw some of the diagrams and some of the architectural drawings, what could be, I still think that, you know, we have to take those things in consideration, and we will as a council, as well as the move to Newburgh Heights. With that note in mind, let me talk about some of the things that's coming up in the very near future. But before I do say what's going on in Ward 4, let all of us say happy birthday to our own dear Mayor, Matt Burke. It is his birthday. So I do want to recognize the mayor and his birthday. It happened early this week, that's true. On February 23rd, there will be a Black History program sponsored by the Lucas Funeral Home and the Lucas family, Jason Lucas and Yolanda Lucas. And they will be recognizing individuals here in the community, and your very own our councilman out of Ward 4 will be recognized. On February 26th, that program actually starts from what I saw, from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. But I know Mr. Lucas has to be in two places, so they will start at 3 o'clock here at the Civic Center on February the 23rd. On February 26th, there will be the first ward block meeting for Ward 4. It'll be held here at the Civic Center. And it'll be a chance for the residents to come out and ask questions and to meet the council president along with the mayor, Matt Burke. On March the 5th, again, I would like to talk about Neighbors on Duty, more like a crime watch program. It's been very successful here in our city, and I just happen to be one of the hosts along with one of the founders, Councilman Kelly. So I definitely want you to come out, hear what is going on with our police department, our fire department, and some of the special guests that will be appearing here on March the 5th, 2025, right here on Civic Center. I want to talk about that Taste of Love barbecue that you were talking about.
Yes, sir.
They did set up in Ward 4. Right there on the corner where CVS is at and Old Cross here, Sunoco.
Yeah, they set up.
Yeah, they I'm trying to tell you, that was some good stuff. I want to encourage us, especially in Ward 4, to support the businesses that are in Ward 4. And we have a bunch of them. All the way from when you get to CVS and go down CVS, there's, what's the car place that's right there? Oh. Yeah, right here. That's what I'm trying to think of. Right here, McDonald's. From McDonald's all the way down to Speedway, from Speedway to Mr. Heroes. Mr. Heroes, you just keep on going. We got them. Dunkin' Donuts, Walgreens is there in Ward 4, and a whole other thing. And believe me, I've gotten really chastised about going all the way down to Turneytown and seeing trash behind the buildings. And I just recently was there this weekend again. They haven't cleaned up the tires yet behind that building, but we are definitely asking for assistance to get that there. What is going on is at nighttime, there are no cameras back behind those buildings. And so someone is deliberately dumping in our city. And so I'm asking that we as a city, and I'll bring this up in a safety meeting pretty soon, have cameras placed back there, type of cameras that are infrared and can see what is going on and who is actually dumping in the ward. But that area is a constant problem for us here in the city. With that, I'd like to again go back and say we need to support places like Hushmark, that's over in Turningtown, small place. There's also Jerk Chicken, I think, or other restaurants that's there that don't get a lot of notoriety. But Hushmark, and all the way around the corner to it's a Must Cafe. We need to support these little small businesses as often as we possibly can. With that note in mind, I want to thank our residents again for coming out. We do not take this lightly. We do encourage you to come out, and we do encourage you to communicate with each one of your city council members. Again, I just want to say thank you. If all minds are clear, can I please get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President,
Councilman Smith.
move that we dismiss the city council meeting for Monday, February 10th, 2025 at 8:37 p.m.
It has been so moved by Councilman Smith to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded by Councilman Kelly. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. We adjourn.
I cannot.